everyone, welcome back. So in my last video, I shared with you guys my 4-month hula hooping journey. If you guys have not seen that video, make sure to check that out because it was a lot of fun. But from that video, I ended up getting a lot of questions about how to get started with hula hooping and where to get your first hoop and how I am personally learning how to hoop dance. So in this video, I'm going to answer all of your questions, and hopefully by the end, you guys will have a really good starting place for you to start your own hoop journey. So let's get into it. So my first question is hula hooping good for fitness and weight loss? Yes, I think that it is a great form of exercise, especially if you have ever been interested in dance or if you found other forms of exercise like jogging or lifting heavy weights to be rather torturous instead of fun. I think that hula hooping is a great way to get into fitness. By itself, it may not get you into the best shape of your life. It will help to tone and strengthen your body, especially your arms and shoulders, but it's not going to get you super duper defined six-pack abs per se. And in terms of cardiovascular health, I would compare it to a brisk walk in the park, but it's probably not going to strengthen your heart the same way that a 1-mile jog could do. So it's pretty good light to moderate exercise, and if you are coming from a more sedentary lifestyle, it will definitely improve your overall health, your well-being, and your mental state. What I think makes hooping really special is its ability to make exercise really fun. It becomes something that you actually want to do every day because it's just such a good time. And at least for me, hula hooping became really the catalyst for me to shift my overall lifestyle to something that was more active and healthy. I started to incorporate Pilates and yoga into my routine. And just by seeing myself get more fit and stronger, I was motivated to make healthier choices in my diet as well. And all of this together has helped me get into pretty good shape. And because I actually enjoy hula hooping, it's easier for me to keep a consistent routine with it. I always feel like the best form of exercise is one that you will actually do and one that you will actually enjoy. And I feel like hula hooping is a great form of exercise that I think a lot of people can get into. All right, so now I'm going to answer a few questions about my journey so far and how I am learning how to hoop. My first question is, do I practice every day? Yes, I try to. When I get into something, I tend to go all in on it. Last year, there were many weeks when I just wouldn't stop hooping. I would hoop for an entire afternoon for days in a row, and I wouldn't stop until my body just literally couldn't take it anymore. So that wasn't sustainable, so I'm trying to dial it back a little bit and balance out hooping with the rest of my life. Right now, I would say that I practice about 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. And that's just an average. Some days I'll practice way more than that. And other days I just can't be bothered to pick up a hoop at all. But that is the schedule that I typically try to stick to. How am I learning how to hoop? Am I taking classes? Am I self-taught? How am I going about it? So I would say that I am self-taught in the way that I have not gone to a physical class where I have a teacher to give me personal guidance and instruction to help me learn. But I have watched a lot of online tutorials, and I have signed up for a few on-demand classes to help me learn. The woman that I've been going to for maybe 95% of my tutorials is Deanne Love. She is an amazing hula hooping teacher, and her entire YouTube channel is just filled with hundreds of hooping tutorials from very beginner to even some more advanced tricks. And on her website, she has even more classes, including a 28-day starter pack for beginners that I used throughout my first 2 months of learning. Tutorials are really only 10 to 15% of my practice though. I would say that I learn most of my moves just from experimentation and playing around. It's kind of hard to explain, but when I'm just goofing around and rocking out to music, I'll just kind of come across some moves that I want to be able to do, but I'm just not coordinated enough to get it yet. So then I will just spend the next few days or weeks or sometimes months just practicing that move over and over again until I get it down. And this actually leads me to my next question, which is, do I choreograph my movements or do I freestyle? So I freestyle. I am not good at choreography, and I like freestyling because it really challenges me to dial into the music and really try to come up with unique flows for each song that I listen to. It's kind of hard to do that right now because how I choose my next move is often because I made a mistake, and so I'm just trying to recover from that mistake. But you know, as I get better, I'll be able to dance to songs a little bit better as well. Am I open to giving lessons? So I am thinking about it. I don't know if it will happen anytime soon, just because my YouTube community right now are not hula hoopers. But if the demand calls for it, I'm definitely open to making some tutorials for you guys. So what were the hardest moves to learn and what are my favorite moves to do? So shimmying the hoop up my body is really hard for me. So getting the hoop from my knees to my waist or from my waist to my chest, those were really hard for me. I started practicing them within pretty much the first 2 weeks I started hooping, and I can still only successfully shimmy it up half the time, and even then it's not always that graceful. I also really struggled with passing the hoop behind my back with my elbows. I would say that one took me about 3 months to get as well. For my favorite moves, I really enjoy chest hooping and breaks. I think I do them a little bit too often in my flow, but they're just so much fun. And I also really enjoy tosses. It's actually pretty difficult to get the hoop exactly where you want it, but when you do, it's really satisfying. What are the different kinds of hoops and what are they good for? So for this question, I'm going to go over the very basics, mainly because I'm still learning about the different kinds of hoops myself. But as a rule of thumb, larger hoops will come up to around your belly button. They move a lot slower and are very beginner friendly, especially for on-body hooping. It's very easy to learn new tricks on them, they're great for warming up, and they're just super chill to play with. One issue that at least I run into with larger hoops, however, is that they can be a little bit cumbersome for off-body hooping. Here you can see that I pretty much have to get onto my tiptoes to do any tosses with this girl because she's just so massive. So if you don't have a lot of space, it can be hard to do any off-body hooping at all. But that's where smaller hoops come in. Here I have this 28-inch hoop, and this girl is great for all of my off-body tricks. I love her for any kind of hooping with my hands and my arms. She's great for tosses, working with my elbows, and recently I started using her for hooping on my feet as well. If you have a small space, you can do a lot more with this size. Small hoops do go really fast, so they are a great way to get your heart pumping a little bit faster, but as I'm sure you can imagine, they are definitely more challenging hoops to play with, especially for on-body hooping. I can do some moves like breaks, which are what I'm doing right now, but it's nearly impossible to keep the hoop up on my waist. Finally, there are more medium-sized hoops, which I guess is anything between your belly button and your crotch. These hoops are a great in-between for both on and off-body hooping, especially when you are more comfortable with a large hoop. Medium hoops are a great way to help you expand your flow. There are also 3 different materials that hula hoops are typically made out of. There are polyethylene hoops, which are typically heavier and can be quite flexible in warmer weather, and their weight makes them ideal for beginners because you can actually feel the hoop, and it's easier to move it around your body when you're just learning. There are also polypro hoops, and these guys are super lightweight, bouncy, and responsive. I really like them because I don't have to worry about them breaking anything if they fly across the room. But the biggest downside to polypro, though, is that they can crack and break easily in cold weather. And lastly, there are HDPE hoops, and I don't have any experience with them myself, but from my understanding, they are a little bit heavier and better suited for cold weather than polypro hoops. Now for your first hoop, I recommend a large polyethylene hoop that measures to about your belly button or higher. And when you're searching for one, you can look up a beginner's dancer's hoop or a beginner's fitness hoop, depending on what you want to get out of your workouts. Now, the difference between fitness hoops and dancers hoops, as far as I know, is that fitness hoops are heavier and thicker and are made to be used mostly for the waist. Because of their weight, they are easier to learn waist hooping on, but I get really nervous about trying any other trick because they can cause a lot of bruises and can be pretty dangerous. So if you are hoping to expand your skills to more than just the waist, I'd recommend a dancer's hoop. So I got my first hoop from Etsy, so I will leave a link to that in the description box for you guys. And another place where I get my hoops is Autumn Flow. And it's actually kind of funny because the founder of Autumn Flow was actually my biggest inspiration to start hula hooping. Her name is Michelle McCoy, I think. And on her channel, she had this 7-month hula hooping journey that I watched. And I was just so inspired, and I bought my first hoop shortly after watching that. So I really like to support her. And there's also Hoopology, and they have the largest selection of hoops of any and every kind. And I think that you guys will probably have some pretty good luck finding the perfect hoop for you at that store. So I will leave a link to all 3 of those in the description box for you guys. Alright, so those are all of my questions. If you guys have any more, make sure to comment below and I will make sure to answer them either in the comments or in another video. And if you guys want to keep up with my hooping journey, make sure to follow me on Instagram at violet.bloom. I share a little bit of my progress every week, and so if you're interested in that, make sure to follow me there. And otherwise, I hope you all are having a great day and that you're living your best life, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!